Sunday roast. I'm your host, Jeff. Joining me is Luke Morgan. Morgs is here because Das has had too much to drink at the footy, and we believe he is passed out asleep. So, Morgs, how are you, sir?
Good, mate. We came straight from the G. The Blues drove Das to drink once again. I'd had enough, but yeah, I think Das might be asleep. So the show goes on.
The show goes on. Very funny. He would have been a sorry cunt, but I wanted to hear his rant about the Blues. Wanted to hear how he took it. So you'll have to tell me what he was saying and your own personal opinion as another Blues supporter.
I think he'll be pretty funny on Hook, Line and Sinker. I reckon because he loves when Carlton lose because he listens to SEN and he waits to hear all the fans. I reckon come Wednesday night or whenever you guys do it, I reckon he'll have a pretty funny take on the Blues. He'll be a little bit more measured, but we had a pretty funny moment actually. It was probably like there was 10 minutes. It was 10 minutes into the fourth, and we were sitting next to each other. It was fucking cold, and we just were arm in arm. And I looked at him and I just said, I just want to go to a final. And it was quite funny. So, yeah, we were pretty flat. So we got you next week, Jeff.
Yep.
Sydney, and we don't play well in Sydney. So who knows what happens next week. And then Essendon Carlton is 3 weeks, I think. Queen's Sunday.
Yep.
We're going to that. And I reckon if we lose that, I reckon it's microwave membership sort of stuff.
Yeah, it sounds all right.
I'm excited to hear what he has to say as well, to be honest.
I know me and Dobe sort of floated the idea that Swans Carlton this Friday night we're going to be calling the Chromosome Cup as the two worst teams in football, the two most disappointing teams in football. That'll be this Friday, so we'll pump that up on Hook, Line, Sinker. But we'll get into the first game. Mate, probably the game of the round. Oh, actually, there's another good game. But Port versus Melbourne, or what do they call it? Yatapulti,
I believe, yes.
Yatapulti versus Nam. Port win by 4 points in an absolute cracker, Lou. Kate Chandler kicks the first. Did you see any of this game?
I saw very little. I had a shocker. Those that would have seen getting the 100K live was a nightmare. So I didn't actually see a lot of it, to be honest. I did happen to see Kate Chandler kick the first after he didn't kick it for us at all last week. So that was funny.
Cost us 10K last week and then he kicks the first and we could have made 10K and we didn't. But, my local footy team played on Friday, so I only listened to the last quarter on the radio and I knew what was going on. I was checking the stats throughout the game stuff, and all I know is Zach Butters had an all-time game.
Unbelievable.
Like an all-time. So I was listening to Triple M driving home, I had the whole last quarter in the car, and it was Mark Rasciuto, Dominic Cassisi, I think it was Sodas, and like all Adelaide people at the game, and they were just like, I haven't seen a performance like this on Adelaide Oval in a long time. They're like, this is out of this world. He made Clary, and he was the best player out of Clary, Petrarca, Rosie, all those guys. He was the best player on the field that night. I just brought him into my pyramid because he was in good form. I knew he was a good player, but now it's all like he's staying in there. Like he is a A-grader. I know it's just one game, but he was fucking unbelievable.
What did I see? He's the last month he's the 4th ranked player in the comp.
Yeah, 4th ranked player in the comp. He's coming 4th in coaches' votes, and he's about to get another perfect 10. So he'll nearly go to top 3, top 2.
And just, like, so honest.
Yeah.
Like, looking at it, he had 148 fantasy, who doesn't mean a lot to us. But, yeah, 41, 2 goals. Like, it's just unbelievable.
He's clean. He's hard at it. He's clean on the inside. He's quick on the outside. He works hard. He's just an honest footballer. So, like, yeah, Butters was unbelievable, 41 and 2. Rosie had 31 and 1. Oliver had his usual 30. Dan Houston had 33 and 1. Some big games here. We accidentally didn't screenshot any marks here, so we don't have any odds for you, but great win from Port Adelaide. Me and Das were very harsh on Port Adelaide last year because they started 0-5 and their season was over, basically. Start 0-5, you're done. And they worked their ass off and basically missed making finals in the last 2 weeks or something. But now they just win games. I think they've won 7 on the trot. They just know how to win games. They've obviously trained hard in the off-season, and you got to give the credit to Ken Hinkley. They just go out there and they win, like good teams do.
You have to take your hat off to Ken Hinkley. I'll just out of curiosity, yeah. They're a win-off top spot on the ladder. That's unbelievable. And we talk about what lists look like. All of a sudden, their list looks incredible.
Great.
It's all about. Obviously, it's all about how you're playing at the time. Like we talk about Adelaide, when they're winning, their list is like, what the hell? It's the best list in the comp. And then they lose at Ballarat and you're like, oh, they got some holes. So
Yeah.
obviously a prisoner of the moment. But yeah, hats off to Kenny Hinkley. Das has wanted his head for about 4 years. And yeah, he looks like one of the best coaches in the comp.
Oh. And then, like, I'm just looking at their midfield now. So they got Butters, Rosie, and Horn Francis as one of the brightest futures, the brightest three midfielder future nearly in the comp. And then they've got Ollie Wines and Trav Boak still going. But, like, Ollie Wines and Brownlow medalist. Trav Boak's the most underrated player of the last 10 years nearly as their mentors. And they can see they're the better players now. And then they're probably just mentoring them. We've got a dangerous forward line. Power Pepper is an absolute star. He's a dangerous, dangerous forward. We all know in a good side, Willie Rioli can be a good forward. Finn Lason's as good as footballer or anyone in the comp. They're missing Marshall, missing Charlie Dixon. That is just a great win at home. I'm extremely happy for Port Adelaide. And then on the other side of it, so Melbourne, you don't really worry too much about a loss like that. Like, Port Adelaide obviously got up, big Friday night at home. They got the chocolates. The only problem is Clary doing his hamstring problem. He's going to miss about 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
I think Melbourne are going to be fine. Like, they're still going to be a top 4 side. They're fine. Good teams beat other good teams. It happens. I don't think they'll look into it a bit because that's the second time when they went to Adelaide Oval, Parrish and Merritt got a hold of them. So maybe they're a bit too confident in Petrarca and Oliver and they don't respect the opposition enough sometimes and they get a bit of a hold of them. So and it might be a good loss for them in a way. So, yeah.
You can sort of see Melbourne doing a bit of a Geelong, I reckon, like using the season to figure it out.
Yeah.
They've got that luxury, and then once finals comes around, it's just whether they're good enough.
For sure. You can see, like, as Oliver and Petrarca should, they'd look at any other midfielders and go, we're better than you two. And midfielders might get a hold of them, but this is just great tape for them to know, righto, do we need to bring in Angus Brayshaw in the midfield and put an arm on Zach Butters so Petrarca and Oliver can still go eat and all that stuff. So I reckon it's just I wouldn't worry too much as a Melbourne supporter. I thought it's just one of those losses on a Friday night. You lose away from home. The only problem is Clary missing a month, but I still think he can win the Brownlow as well, Lou.
Definitely. They lost to a good side. It is what it is.
Next game, Saturday, 1:45, Marvel Stadium. I was calling it the Harley Reid Cup. And it basically ended that way. North Melbourne versus the Swans. Who kicked the first? I was on... Buddy Franklin kicked the first at about 8:75.
Just slotted it too.
I was on Heaney. I know he missed one, which was funny.
Hilarious.
Did you watch any of this game, Lou?
To be honest, I only watched like the last 10 minutes, which was kind of all that anyone's talking about.
All you need to watch. So, yeah, I watched the whole game. All I can take away from the game is the Swans are just, we're still shell-shocked. We're still nowhere near as good as we were last year. We've just lost. Buddy looks about 70 sometimes, doesn't he? You said the same thing. The one came over the back and hit him on the chest. He falls over every time he goes up for a mark these days. I don't know. You got to see it live. So he still can test for marks, but he looks like once he jumps, he looks like he stiffens up and he just falls like a plank and he has to get himself up. He's a bit slow. He can't break tackles anymore. I still love him to bits, but he's not the same Bud he used to be.
Horse Longmire, was it last week that he played because he was sick, but you were low on numbers?
Yes.
He dead set looks like, you know when you have gastro and you don't eat for 3 days and you're like, you're weak. Like I watched, and like when you miss a mark and it rebounds off your chest, so like he lost a 1-on-1 to Mackay where honestly, yeah, he just looks like he hadn't eaten in a week. He just had no strength. Yeah. And then the next contest, I think it hit him on the head. And then the next one was it hit his chest and it rebounded. I feel so sorry for him.
Yeah.
But I think he's probably the least of your like Swans problems. But yeah, it was hard to watch Big Bud.
As a Swan supporter, yeah. It's hard to say. Like, I'm looking at our back line and we've got Will Gould, Aaron Francis and Nick Blakey playing key backs. Like, it should be McCartan and Rampy. So it's so hard to judge us right now. Like, you think you're missing your 3 key defenders. It's hard to judge. I thought Chad Warner had 30 touches. Errol Goulden had 24. Cost me a fair bit of money, old Errol, which is funny. It had him for 25 in a lot of bets. But I've just got to talk about North Melbourne. So they debuted George Wardlaw, and he was great. And they say he's a clearance beast, he's a midfield specialist, and I could see it. I could see his future. Harry Sheezel was the best player on the ground by an absolute mile. He kicked 25 and had 2. His future is as bright as anyone's. And LDU didn't play, who we know is as good as anyone. Then they got Jai Simpkin, who I rate as a midfielder. They didn't have Cam Zerha play, and Nick Larkey still kicks big goals. So I'm impressed with. I actually am impressed with North's future. And then it was one of those ones. They lost the game in the worst fashion I've ever seen. Like at the game, no one knew what was going on at the ground, and then we found out as interchange, impeachment, or whatever it was. It's one of those games. North actually won that game, and they didn't get the 4 points. And in about 4 days, they're probably going to be happy about not having those 4 points.
Yeah.
Because Hawthorn won today. So now they're even on wins with Hawthorn. So if they're and Hawthorn won by 100 points, and now they're going to go below Hawthorn. So now they're the second last team. They basically just beat the reigning team that played in the grand final, and now they're going to get a better draft pick. So they can't be too mad, North Melbourne, with that. They debuted a good young kid, like probably did everything right, but not get the 4 points.
It'd be such a weird coaching like week for both teams. Like the Roos will probably be coached this week as if they won that game. Like they really should, because what does 4 points matter to the players this year? Like they will be training this week, and then on the flip side, really the Swans should be coaching as if they lost that game. I don't get it though, Jev. Like I don't know. You've watched more Swans games, but like, does it show maybe the Swans are so system dependent? Like if you look at your list, still with your list compared to that 22 versus 22, that just should not be close.
No,
it should not be. Just like what is it that's
just,
obviously it's $1 million.
We're still last year we played with so much confidence. We'd always kick it into the middle, numbers around the ball, like never second guess ourselves. Now I watch us. We don't take kicks in board anymore. We don't switch it sometimes. We don't take the game on sometimes. And just, you know, like you look at Collingwood or you look at who's another, like St Kilda. Every player on the list has improved. So me and Darcy talk about this. Every player on the list has improved, and then their coaching and their standards of training have improved. So as a team, they've all improved. I think the Swans probably trained as hard, but Heaney, Papley, Franklin, they've all taken a step backwards. Like they're not as playing as well. Like Heaney was an All-Australian last year. Papley was in the squad of All-Australian, and Bud's just getting old. And now, so there's, well, they were nearly 8 goals a week, and now they only kick 4 between them on the weekend. So there's half the goals we used to kick, like just a bit of a decline. I've been saying to my old man and stuff, we need to not make the finals this year, and come September, just get out of the country, reset this preseason, because I still think our list is great. Like Warner's only 21, Goulden's 19, Mills is 25, Heaney's 25, Papley's 25, Blakey's 22. Like the future's still amazingly bright. I think we just got to we might have to throw this year in the bin. I know it's still only round 10 and anything can happen, but yeah.
My only thing, like, I just don't like. I just hate in sports. Like, that's fair enough for you as a fan, but an up and about Sydney, like Sydney, the players should not be thinking that way. It's almost like they've done the old like the Warriors. We're not going to win the chip this year. It's like they've conceded. But if you're an up and about and healthy Swans team, tell me a team that would want to play that team week 1 in the finals.
Yeah, no, you're right. If we stuck
in, like, there's not time to waste. To like, yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, get out of the country. It's a good list. Like the time is now. Buddy's done at the end of the year. Like I said, I get there's reality and then there's what you hope for. But I don't know. It looks like they've just conceded the year, and I just can't. Yeah, I'd be shattered if I was a Swan supporter.
I'm sure they have. Like I'm sure they haven't. I'm sure they're working hard on it, but I can't see us firing a shot. And what's the point of making finals if you're going to go out week 1 finals? And we're starting to stack up more injuries. Like Laddam's hurt his ankle again yesterday. So, but we debuted a ruckman yesterday who I like the look of. Goldstein got a bit of a hold of him in the second half, but yeah. Anyway, next game, Morgs. Dogs, Crows, down at Mars Stadium, Ballarat. The Dogs win by 45 points. They just took care of business and just handled our favourite team in the comp, the Crows, Lou. It's cost us an absolute fortune. So we had Crows plus 30.5 in that many bets. Who kicked the first? Can you see?
Yeah, is it Gallant or Golland?
Yeah, Galanty. Lucky Galanty, I think he is.
Never heard of him. He kicked the first. He paid $17 to kick the first. So that's great value.
Not bad at all. I didn't see any of this game, so I was obviously at the Swans game. I was checking the stats because we had Adelaide plus 30.5 and I just saw the Dogs giving them the business the whole day.
Yeah, it was. I was sort of on and off, and you have the scoreboard of the other game down the right on the bottom right, and obviously I was just looking for the 28 and kept trying to work out 28, and it just slowly kept growing and growing. It was just they were talking about on the coverage. It was just the Dogs just had their number from the get go, and then just buried them in the end.
Yeah. Bailey Smith 37, Bailey Dale 36, Libba 33, Daniel 30, Bontempelli 30, McRae 2 goals and 26. It just looked like they just owned them around the contest, around the ground. They were just winning the ball. Yeah, it was just never close, was it? I think they got up by 30 points and stayed there.
Yeah, pretty much. Rory Laird, he had 37. He paid $5.60 for 35 plus. As you said, Lib had 33. He paid $3.15. 16 contested possessions. He's in good form. He's almost in pyramid form, Jeb.
No, 100%. He's unbelievable footballer.
And my man, speaking of pyramid form, the big translucent crayfish, Timmy English, not great to bet on. He paid $1.96 for 20 touches, but 21, 7 tackles, 29 hitouts.
Yeah.
Geez, I'd love him with the Blues.
Yeah, he's a good player. And Jordan Dawson, my man, he's had 25 touches 5 weeks in a row. He only had 22. Kicked a goal, but a bit flat. I thought, I see. We get so high on Adelaide, and we should. They're playing great footy, but when your midfield is Dawson and Laird, where Dawson's it's his first year in the midfield, Laird's been a midfielder for a long time, and then it's just guys. Well, Sloane's a bit older, and then it's just like it's Chase Jones, it's Millerer, it's Rochelle, it's Parner, it's just guys around it, and you come up against Smith, Libba, Bont, McRae, Daniel, Bailey Dale, midfielders that have been playing midfield for a long time. Like, maybe we should have seen this result coming, Lou. And they rested Taylor Walker for some reason. Maybe, I don't know about this one. Maybe it was a bit fishy. Maybe we got a bit too high on Adelaide and the bookie sucked us in and got us.
It was a dog of a day in Ballarat too. As I said, the 3 minutes I watched, it was blowing a gale. It was, maybe we should have seen it. I think, though, when we get excited about Adelaide, probably important to remember we get excited for them for the next 4 or 5 years. Yeah. It's not necessarily they're going to win the flag. But it is tough, Jeff. When you're trying to turn $10 into $100K every week, it's not easy.
You've got to find legs. Next game, Freo versus Geelong. I saw the second half or the last quarter of this game. Second half maybe when I got home from the footy. So Freo beat Geelong by 29 points. I saw this coming from a mile away, Lou. Did you see any of this game? Who kicked the first?
Who kicked the first? Isaac Smith kicked the first. $41 he paid to kick the first.
Jeez, that would have been nice.
Walyalup too, Jev, is the team that they were called. Walyalup.
Yep, sorry. Versus the Cats.
You're right.
It's the Cats. Hawk kicked 3. So I reckon me and Dar's going to sit down, hook, line and sinker, or a couple of weeks, and I want to rank the midfield duos in the comp from 1 to 18. Because I'm looking at... So, Rosie and Butters Friday night had an absolute blinder. And now I'm looking at Brayshaw and Sarong here. Brayshaw had 1 goal and 33, Sarong 1 goal, 28. They're as good at 2 midfielders as anyone. There's Oliver Petrarca, like Cripps and Walsh. There's Parrish and Merritt. There is so many good midfield duos in the comp right now. It would be that hard to rate them from 1 to 18.
100%. Such a bright few. That's all you need. That's just that duo. I'm trying to call them the Hardy Boys. So that's just who they remind me of. They're just that young duo coming up together. What they have, I had it written down here. So Brayshaw had 33, and then Caleb Strong had 28. So Brayshaw paid $2.08 for 30, and then Caleb Strong, pretty tough to bet on. He only pays $1.22 for 25, but I guess that just shows what sort of form he's in.
He just gets that 25. What they pay for a goal? Do you have that there?
Nah, I don't. I could get it up, but it'd be some dead air.
I'll get it.
I do have Sonny Walters, Jai Miss. They both kicked bags of 3. Sonny paid $5.90 for 3, and then Miss paid $5.50. So they were both good bets.
Were they what? Yeah, they just handle business. Hawkins kicked 3. He's an absolute stud. We know that. They just handle business at home. I don't think Geelong will be too worried, but I think they're starting to get too many losses. I heard him talk on the Sunday Footy Show. So Geelong only lost 4 games for the whole year last year. They've already lost 5 this year. So they'll know inside they can still win the premiership, but they're going to have to start winning more games to finish top four to give themselves the best chance to win the premiership. You know how hard it is to win outside the top four. So they're going to have to. Obviously, Danger's injured, and Duncan and what's his name, Guthrie, and all those guys are injured, and it's hard. But they're going to have to start winning some more games. I'm pretty sure they still have 6 more games at GMHBA. So that's 6 wins right there. They don't lose at home. So I think they're going to finish maybe 4th, 5th, around that. Depends how Port Adelaide keep going. It's because Brisbane, Collingwood are locked top 4 right now. Then you'd think Melbourne are probably going to be close to a lock. Then it's Port, Geelong. The Dogs are in some good form. And St Kilda are probably not top 4 good, but they'll keep winning games. So Geelong probably have knowing how smart they are, they've probably got the whole year planned out, their wins, their losses, how they're finishing top 4, who every other team's losing to, and they'll probably finish 4th and win the flag again, but they should be winning these games, Lou.
They just play with such a luxury. Like, it's like last year they used that to get the formula, and now they literally would have it written on a bit of loose leaf. Because, like, even last year, you say, would they lose 4 last year, or 5 was it, whatever it was, but didn't they lose all of them before round 11?
Yeah.
So it's
on a 7-game win streak.
They're on a different track. They're a year older. There's no Selwood and there's more injuries. I know that. But look, they've done it before. So who's to say they can't do it again?
Watch them do it again. I don't know I'm going to have a quick look who they got next week. Watch them do it again. They'll have I bet you it's an easy kill. So they got Giants at GMHBA. So they'll win that. Then they've probably got a bye. Then they'll get Dangerfield back, and then watch them win 9 in a row coming into the finals. You can see it from a mile away. All right, next game, Brisbane Gold Coast. Brisbane handled business by 43 points. In the last quarter, I'm pretty sure 3/4 time, Gold Coast were down by 5 points. They worked their ass off to get it back to 5 points in the 4th, ended up losing by 43. I didn't watch this game because I was watching the other game at the footy club. Did you see any of this game, Lou?
I saw a little bit of it, but you're right. The Lions was 39 to 7 points in the last quarter. The Lions just ran away with it. Who kicked the first? Big Tofu Casbolt kicked the first.
Really?
He paid 19. I couldn't believe this. This has to be something to look for forward to. He was the 3rd favourite for Gold Coast. So the 3rd favourite for Gold Coast pays $19. I couldn't believe it. Jeez, that's worth a sprinkle.
And he's a full forward. Like, he's basically I know Ben King's their main forward, but having a full forward at 19 to 1, big clunk bolt, he clunks everything.
It's a bad sign when someone's saying you have to have a sprinkle on Casbolt for first, though. I mean, save your pennies.
That's advice, isn't it? So I'm looking at the stats now. So McCluggage, 30 and a goal. Ashcroft, 30 and a goal. Dunkley, 29. Lockie Neal, 35. Just looks like the big guns just handled business when it needed to at Brisbane. They do not lose at the Gabba, Morgs. It's the safest bet in the world right now. They took care of Collingwood there. Collingwood lost 1 game for the season. They took care of Collingwood there. They took care of Melbourne there. Even if you think a team might beat Brisbane at the Gabba, they're not going to. They're too good there. Danaher kicks another 4. He's in incredible form. He's kicked, he kicked 6 last week, 4. I think he's kicked nearly 2 bags of 4 after that. He's in great form. Ben King's in great form. He kicked 3 goals, 2 off 7 touches. Charlie Cameron kicked his 2. Hipwood 2. I know Matt Rowell had 18 because he cost me an absolute bomb, Lewis. I would have won about $250 if he got to 20. So I'm a bit flat at Matty Rowell. I was watching those stats pretty thin. And it just looks like one of those games. Gold Coast had a crack, got back into it, but Brisbane just handled business in the end.
Some just on your stats. So yeah, Joey Danaher, he paid $4 to kick his 4. What else do we have? Ashcroft, he was $4 for 30. So welcome to the 30-1 club. And then $5.50 McCluggage, also in the 30-1 club. That was a great bet. $5.50 for McClug. And then it's so good to see as well. You said about the Gabba. Like, I think I know you're a Swans fan, but we live in Victoria. Like, teams just don't have a home ground advantage. Like, Carlton don't have a home ground advantage. It's so good that the Lions do. Like, being a Brisbane team, you go up there, it's tough to beat them. I reckon
everyone flies up knowing they're not going to win. You're just going up there for an L and coming back. Like, it is great. We had Ashcroft for 25 in the 100K. He was paying $1.93 for 25. So he said he averages, he's an absolute Gabba specialist. He has 28 every time he plays at the Gabba. He has another 30. You've got to remember, he's only played 10 games, the kid. This is his 10th game. This is his first year. Imagine averaging 28 at home and the kid having 30-1 in your first 10 games, Lou. What a
How good must his mattress be? Like, what changes him? That he sleep? Is it his local bean? Like, is it what is it that he loves up there?
He just, geez, he's got a good mentor in Lockie Neal, doesn't he? And Dunkley, they're ultimate professionals. He's going to be a good player for a long, long time.
You can just tell he has it. You can just tell he's confident. And as you say, he's going to be
like he's only going to get better the more games he plays. Natural progression. If he's having 30-1 by game 10 and 28 every time he plays at the Gabba, in a couple of years, like he could be like a Chris Judd, a 21-year-old Brownlow medalist. Like sky's the limit for this kid. Could be the best player on the goal, like in Brisbane, the only one getting votes. Could nearly be the captain at age 21. Yeah, he could be anything.
Yeah, they'd be so rapt having him.
Next game, Essendon, Richmond, dream time at the G. This was an absolute cracker. Essendon win by 1 point. Lou, did you watch any of this game?
I actually did watch a good chunk of this game and watch the last quarter. Did you?
I basically watched the whole game. It was just a great game. All credit to Essendon. I'm bloody wrapped for them to get the win. They didn't. You see, so Ryan Mansell kicked it first. No idea what he paid.
21.
21-1.
Yeah.
You saw Essendon hadn't beaten Richmond in, I think it was 13 games in a row they hadn't beaten them. So they got that moz off their back. I was with a couple of Richmond supporters at the footy club watching. I think they got up by 3 goals in the last quarter. And they're like, game over. You know, like they're just like, game over. We're home now. There was 20 points in the last quarter. Then Essendon just kicked a goal and then another goal and then clawed their way back and they fucking stole it right at the end. I'm happy for them that you can see they're well coached. They know how they're going to win footy games now. So,
I was so happy. Like they showed footage of Merritt and Heppel going down the race together, and like you think of last year when like Heppel was on the couch and just getting grilled, and it's like he's probably a ripper bloke. His team's getting pumped. It's not his fault.
Yeah,
like. I was so happy for, and Essendon supporters as well. Like that last 4 minutes was so good because Richmond tightened up, and that's not necessarily a knock. That just happens in footy. There was one team that had nothing to lose, and they were coming so hard. And then Tipper nearly kicked goal here on his left.
Yeah,
and then to that goal from the goal square, that was good for footy. Footy was the winner there.
Yeah, it was good. Basically, a goal to put a go-ahead goal in front. 20 seconds to go. Zach Merritt, 39 touches, best on ground. He won the medal. Funny, it's actually funny. So me and Darth both backed and said Tim Taranto will win the medal. So Tim Taranto had 1 goal, 33 touches. You got to think if Richmond ended up winning that game by a point and Durham missed that goal, that could have been absolute cash for us. Taranto won. Shy Bolton had 2 and 28. That's a pretty good game. Ridley, who's a key back, had 32. Like that's a great game for a key back. Rioli, 26. He's still 100% on the year for 20, Lou. We're still getting $1.30 for it. It's just a great bet. What else we got here? Redmond, 27. Caldwell, 31. Sam Wiedemann kicked 2 goals. So no one kicked over 2. Wiedemann, 2. Menzies, 2. Dusty Barton, 2. Durham, 2. Mantle, 2. Bolton, 2. And then a whole heap of guys kicking 1. It was just a great game. Great game to watch. They do it so well, that dream time of the G game.
Watching this, I was actually interested. I forgot to ask Dars today. I know they lost, but I reckon I don't know how much you saw, but geez, I think Trent Cotchin deserves a little bit of credit. He looked so slow at the start of the year, and obviously Richmond aren't what they were, but geez, he's so composed. When he gets the ball, he turned himself into somehow this slow half forward that, I reckon, he deserves a bit of credit.
Not even credit. He's still clean. He's still tough. He still makes good decisions. He's not as quick as these young whippersnappers anymore, but he's still a smart footballer. Yeah, he copped a lot of shit, and I was one of them. I was one of them that said, before the season started, I said he'll be playing 2s this year. That's how bad he's going to go, but he has turned his season around. And I was with a couple of Richmond supporters last night who are always going to say this, but they're like, if you've watched Dustin Martin's last month, he's nearly back in All-Australian form. Like, he's in good form. And everyone started noticing when he kicked 4 against the Cats last week. Kicked another 2 last night. He's another one. You can see he's getting old and slowing down, but just in big moments, big spots, he just always does the right thing. Like, he's a great footballer. So,
It's like his age has really only affected the amount of time he can spend in the midfield.
yeah,
He plays half forward. He still has his burst. 100%. He's still an absolute star.
still hard to tackle.
Oh,
I watch Andrew McGrath. Like, he looked at Andrew McGrath and nearly laughed. Just put their hands out and they just slip off his big rig, his big thons.
yeah.
Yeah,
He could still win a Norm just like that.
yeah, I know. And last week the narrative was no one wants to see Richmond in the finals. I don't think they're making finals. I don't think they're good enough. They're just, I feel for them a bit where they got injuries. They just don't have the mix of their old guys, and their old guys are old, and their young guys are 18, 19-year-olds, and those middle age are like, it's like Dan Rioli, Shai Bolton, still a bit young. They're only 21, 22, 23, those guys. So I don't know who their 27-year-olds are, but I don't think they're good enough, sort of thing.
My only like thing, almost, I mean, interested to see what you think, but like, it almost looks like this is what West Coast should look like probably a year ago. Like, maybe they've done it they haven't had a choice, but bring in the young guys.
Yeah.
Whereas now West Coast are just like, they held on for too long. They got Cali. I don't mind going for it after the year, go for it. But after that, you've got to recognize that it's just not happening for you a bit sooner. But we'll talk about them, I'm sure.
Oh, so next game, Hawthorn versus West Coast. 17th versus 18th, Lou. And 17th wins by 116 points. Are you fucking kidding me? 116 points down at Tassie. The final score was, let me get it up. So 22 goals 10, 142 to 4 goals 2, 26. How do you kick 4 goals 2 for a game against the second side on the bottom? Oh my God, Ivan, I barely watched this. I watched the first quarter of this game.
Why would you?
Oh,
I don't.
man.
Did I see it right? Did they not kick a goal in the second half? Did I see that right? Maybe that can't be right.
They probably didn't, legit.
It's like if this was like a top 4 side, top 6 side even, you probably wouldn't even think twice about it. You just look at West Coast and you just say it is what it is. But to lose by Damien Barrett, whatever you think about him, but I saw just before on Twitter he said this is worse than the drug scandal for West Coast. This is like the lowest of, and he wasn't taking the piss.
That's fucked. So after half time, so Hawthorn kicked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they didn't kick a goal because they kicked the last 10 goals of the game.
I asked us, and obviously, who the fuck are we to ask this? But I don't know if West Coast are getting enough shit. Like, I know they have injuries, but surely you have to sort of see this coming.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. But everyone else saw it coming. That's what I thought. So there's one narrative in the going around is because they won that 2018 premiership. All McGovern, Nat Nui, Gaff, those guys all got an extra contract to thank them for the 2018 premiership. But that's not how sports and business work. Now they're just in the shit for the rest of their lives because they're going to be in the shit for 10 years.
And I totally get that, but what I don't get is you keep hearing that, and then everyone brings up the Tim Kelly. But I love the fact they went and got Tim Kelly. What are you if you win the flag, your next 2 firsts? Yeah, sure, you got to think about the future. But if you think you're in the window, go get Kelly. But even so that's 2019. That's 4 years ago.
Yeah,
that premiership. Yeah, they won in the last 5 years. Who gives a fuck?
So Mitch Lewis kicked 6 and had 24 touches, Lou. That's a big day. 6 goals, 2, 24 touches. Guess what he paid for 6?
I wouldn't know.
$12.50. Does that seem a bit short? He's not that good of a player, or are West Coast that easy to score against?
Maybe they are. Maybe they just love Mitchy Lewis and Lonnie.
$12.50 for 6, and I can't even find a market for him for 20. So you must only be able to get him for 15. So he must have paid $4 for 15. So
what do you have? 24 and 6.
24 and 6.
Welcome to the 20 and 6 club. That's unbelievable.
That's the only players in the 26 club. I think Jeremy Cameron, Tom Papley, and now Mitchy Lewis.
What about last year's club?
You wouldn't know Mitch Lewis if he bloody delivered you a bloody Uber Eats burger.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Still 6. Bruce, the professional forward, kicked 3. There was a lot of 2s. Dom Sheed had 30 and 2 for a team that kicked 4 goals. Not a bad day. Darcy Man Sicily 30. Your man Connor Nash 30. Weddle 29. What did Sicily play for 30? I'll get that up for you, Lou.
Talk about blokes I wouldn't know if they popped up in my cereal. Big Connor Nash.
So you could have got $3.60 for Sicily 30 and $3.05 for Connor Nash 30. That would have been nice. What about Dom Sheed? What did he pay for 30?
I tell you have to feel for. You have to feel for Adam Simpson.
Oh,
That blokes get sick of their jobs at times. He would just want to get to Bali as soon as you could say Jack Rabbit.
Dom Sheed paid $11.50 for 2, Lou, and he kicked 2 out of 4 goals. That would have been nice. Have a little sprinkle on.
Jeez, it would have been nice, but
Who's
who's having that bet?
taking Dommy for 2?
I'll have it in the pod next week.
All right, next game. Carlton versus Collingwood. 85,000 at the G, 320 at the G. That is God's hour. 320 at the G.
Oh, yeah.
Collingwood get a hold of Carlton by how much was it in the end, Lou?
I think it was 28.
Points.
Yeah.
28 points. You were there. What happened?
It genuinely looked like, honestly, like a VAFA Premier B side playing a VAFA Premier C.
Yeah.
Like, I saw some stuff on Twitter, like Motlop and Durden, so they didn't kick a goal between them. But like I don't think they would have had one crumb between them.
Yeah.
It was just like we were talking about our bottom 10 compared to Collingwood's bottom 10. Like, would Macquarie be in their bottom 10? Probably. And that's not a knock, but that's just the difference. Our bottom 10 is just so bad.
Yeah.
But we're just I know Darcy's been sort of touching on it. Like, I want to get behind Vossi, but I've been to 4 out of the last 5 Carlton games, and I've sat level 3 for 4 of them, so you can sort of get a good look at it. We don't use the corridor. Like, who cares? Even if you're scared about our foot skills, who cares?
Yeah.
Just we're losing anyway. Use the corridor. And the problem is we use the ball so slowly. Like, the Collingwood defenders today wouldn't have been stressed once.
No.
Not once, because we use it so slowly. And then that's why we can't get crummers, because all our small forwards are up the ground trying to do little lead-ups to get some ball movement going. Then they just go long to Charlie, and he's a 2-on-1 with no crummers. It's very frustrating.
I know you do it 3 times a game, but how good does it look when you win in the back line, you go long down the wing and Harry takes a contested mark, he wheels and goes long down the wing to Charlie, and you get it in quick, and you always get a shot on goal when you guys do that. I mean, you can only do it so many times a game, but apart from that, geez, Collingwood just took a liking to you. You had a good end. I think you had a good. You ended the second quarter well, and you played an all right third quarter. But it was already over. Collingwood were too good.
It's frustrating to watch. Like, obviously, we're just local footy players, but like, you think of if you have two talls, 2 small. So one tall goes up. So then hope one small goes with him. So if Harry brings it to ground, Motlop can crumb it. He can kick it to Charlie, and then Durden can crumb to Charlie. Like, it doesn't sound that hard. I just don't know what the plan is. It's very, very frustrating, Jeff. And I just want them to I want someone to come out and I loved last night. I don't know if you saw, but Brad Scott apparently spoke to all the Essendon players after the game.
Yeah.
And he said to the players, our fans have absolutely copped it for the last 5 years. He's like, go spend, don't worry about the meeting. Go spend 15 minutes walking around. And I absolutely love that. But surely Vossi's got to come out and just give us something. Something. I don't know. Darcy and I was saying, fans are going to stop coming to the game.
Yeah.
We're going to Carlton Essendon, but it's just going to slowly drop off because we're just not good enough. Unfortunately,
I look at Jack Silvani, and we love Jack Silvani. Everyone loves his effort and stuff. Would he get a game at Collingwood?
Well, it's funny you asked that because I was asking Dickie the Brownlow Shark today. I went through about 5 players. So Cottrell, how many teams does he start in the AFL? Who else did I say? Nick Newman. Some people have liked him, but there's so many players in our team that just would not. They wouldn't even start for Gold Coast. So I think, and our problem as well. We have we have, and Darcy said this a million times. We have heaps of A graders, heaps of B graders, and then we have just that chunk in the middle. That we're just not good enough.
Watching Collingwood on TV, so Steele Sidebottom gave an absolute lesson to Ollie Hollands on the wing. And if Ollie Holland's on the same wing as McCreary's just too big, strong, and physical for him. Pendlebury was unbelievable on TV. He's like it's like watching like LeBron. He just runs the game like it's on his terms. He sets everyone up. He is the organizer of the whole game. Whatever is happening, he's either getting the ball, he's telling the ball where to go, or he's setting them up to win the ball back. Like he's an unbelievable. His IQ is out of this world. Darcy Moore was at the ground. Was he as good as he was on TV?
He was, especially sitting level 3. He set the record, I think, for intercepts. But, I mean, he was unbelievable, don't get me wrong. But, geez, we played into his hand.
Kept kicking it to him, yeah.
That was a frustrating thing. One for me that stood out was Dogoe. He obviously now in the pyramid and he's getting his flowers, but he almost plays a bit like Pendlebury. Like you sort of think about him as like a quick midfield bull. Yeah. When he gets the ball, it almost looks like time stops as well for him. Yeah. He looks like he's got that much time at the moment. They look incredible.
I would love – so David King said this on SEN. This was in the preseason when radio was shit house for footy. He was on with Kane one morning. He goes, I've just got back – what he was doing over the preseason, he was spending a whole week watching a team train at preseason, then reporting it on Fridays on SEN. It's actually really cool. And he got back from a week watching Collingwood train, and he goes, they're the hardest training team I've seen in the comp. He goes, they're the best kicking team I've seen in the comp. They work the hardest, and then they joke around like after training. They have a laugh. And he tweeted, he watched them training Feb, and he goes, I'm flirting with backing Collingwood for the premiership and Dacos for the Brownlow. They're the best team I've seen train this preseason. And then I just watched it against Carlton. It was basically over in 40 minutes. Halfway through the second quarter, that game was over. The second you guys turned it over, anywhere in the middle of the ground towards your centre forward, it just went to Collingwood goal. They set up, they hunt, they get ready for a mistake. They pick it up and they're just in a handball chain running through the middle of the G with no pressure on them, and they just get a good shot on goal every time. They're just so ready for it.
100%. What I love as well is their 22 matches their game style so perfectly. Like they don't actually have one tall forward, and you don't need one because their foot skills are so good. They just cut you up. But Elliott, like Maya checks the target, but they're all like they're right there because they don't need that long ball inside 50.
And the funny thing is, so you watch Carlton play, and probably 70% of the time you are kicking long to Charlie, and you want him in one-on-ones 30 out, but sometimes it's one-on-ones 50 out, or sometimes he's crashing a pack. They never kick long to a forward line, but when they do, it's Mason Cox down there, and they set up the kick perfect. It's like it's like an NFL situational player, like a punter. They bring him off the bench to come take a mark in the forward line, and he's the only tall. He's taller than everyone. They kick it to him perfect. He takes a mark. He kicks the goal. Back to the bench you go. Thank you, Mason. You've done your role for the team. Like
100%. You're right. Everything they do though, it just looks like it has a purpose.
Yeah, the 22 people have a purpose.
All we do, we literally just kick it to Charlie and hope. It's literally just hope.
Yeah.
And then you looked at like a player like Wiedering. Now I know he's out of cash, but he didn't really have a matchup today.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, does he go to Myercheck? He's probably Myercheck's too agile for him. So it's sort of like, it's just, God, how much are they paying for this?
I know I'm going to be behind the Collingwood supporters with this, but I wonder if I can get in front of the media. I'm just Googling right now Brodie Myercheck's stats. I reckon he's going to be in the All-Australian squad of 40 for sure. All right, I'm going to give you his last 4 weeks, Lou. 4 goals, 2 goals, 5 goals, and 3 goals. His last 4 weeks, 25 goals on the year. Like, he's just a great footballer.
Yeah.
I can't fold him. Obviously, he's not the tallest or the fastest or most talented. He just plays off effort, and he's in a good system, and he knows his role. And he gave another one off. Oh, I absolutely love him. So, and I know Collingwood fans have loved him for 2 years. I know I'm late on this, but he's a great player.
100%. And there's so many like that. Like McCreary is another one. Like he would start obviously for Carlton, but he probably wouldn't be Bo McCreary for Carlton because it's not in the Collingwood system. Yeah. That's not a knock on him. It's just giving old Flybags his credit.
So he kicked 4 today, paying $5.40. Curnow 3, he pays bugger off 3. Doherty had 34. I'll tell you what he paid for 30, Doherty. Would have been nice. Would have been able to make a nice wedge on that, I reckon.
He didn't do much with it today, old Doc.
Doc didn't do much with it, you reckon? He paid $2.75 for 30. Would have been nice. Cher also had 30. He paid $3 for 30. Like, you guys won all the ball. You had Doherty 34, Cher 33, Walsh 29. Dacos, like, he didn't have his best game, 27. Jordan DeGoey, he was really good with his 27. And Josh Dacos, 27. And you just can't turn it over around them. It's just goals.
And we've had that disposal count has been the same every week because we just go outside. We just go slow and lots of touches. Yeah. And whereas someone like Collingwood, it's just bang, bang, bang. They only need 4 touches and it's in. Yeah.
I don't know if you wouldn't have seen Sunday Footy Show today, but they were giving credit to Fremantle because they've changed the way they play mid-season. So Freo were playing safe with the footy, a lot of possessions, not turning it over, but they weren't kicking enough goals. Then they showed footage today. They're happy to kick long down the line to a contest, and then once it hits the ground, they're getting the numbers there first. Sarong and Brayshaw clean off the deck, give it to their runners. Like, you got to play organised chaos, contested footy, and win it and go from there. Because teams set up too good defensively. You can't chip it through a zone anymore. They hunt the turnover, it's goals. You got to play a different brand of footy, and so Carlton probably missed a trick.
Yeah, because I know how hard Kingy was on
Longmuir,
yeah, saying if it's not now, it's never.
Yeah,
and to his credit, he did because that's what being a coach is all about. So I just is Vossi too stubborn? Like what is it? I don't know.
Is he? Yeah, they've fucked it in the preseason, the Blues, I reckon, and now it's gonna cost them a year of footy basically.
Well, the best thing I heard this week was that we couldn't defend last year, so they went the other way about trying to stop scores.
Yeah.
But then you look at some teams, it's like, well, we're going to kick 100. Good luck to you if you're going to kick 100. That's sort of, I don't know. We fucked it. We dogged it, Jev.
Final game of the year, St Kilda, Giants. You wouldn't have seen a second of this game, would you?
Not a lick.
Not a lick. I only watched after halftime. That's when Carlton Collingwood finished. So I watched after halftime. It was actually an absolute ripper. And it was Jack Sinclair that took over in the last quarter and won him the game. He kicked 2 and had 37, Lou. 2 second half goals, 37 touches. That is a big day. 2 and 37. Steele with 25. Canelio, 25 and a goal. Max King kicked 4. The tip rat Jack Higgins kicked 3. Jesse Hogan, 2. Toby Green, 2. Brett Daniels, 2. It's actually a really good game. Me and Duff say this every week. GWS are great to watch and great to bet on. The midfielders get touches, the forwards kick goals, they have a crack, they take it on. They just lack a bit of class. They're obviously in the first season of a new coach, so they are. So Max King kicked 4 in his first game back. I don't know what happened there, Lou. Sorry about that, bit of technical difficulties. Higgins got 350 for 3. Mitch Owens got knocked out really badly. I don't know if you saw that, Lou, but it was pretty up. So he might miss a couple of weeks, and I'm on him for Rising Star. But I can't see Ashcroft or Sheasel not winning that. What did Sinclair pay for 2? So for 35, you could get Jack Sinclair could get 8-1 for 35 and 10.50 for him to kick 2. So you would have got 80-1 for Jack Sinclair's game today. 30. Yeah, so good game. Yeah, they'd be absolutely wrapped with just going to thingy and getting the 4 points. Who have they got next week, St Kilda? They have. It's a bit weird. They've played the 4:40. So I find this weird. Carlton have played the 3:20 Sunday game. They've got Swans on Friday night, so then they get a 5-day break, and they got to go to Sydney. And then St Kilda have played the 4:40 Sunday game in away, and now they've got the 1:45 Saturday at Marvel Stadium against Hawthorn. So you'd think they'd win that, but the Hawks spook them on a 5-6 day break. Like, don't be surprised there. So, yeah, that's the week, Lou. Blues are done. Thanks. Hopefully we'll post this on the story. Give us a listen. Give us some feedback if you do listen. If it's too long, let us know because we didn't know how long we went. So, Discord's popping. NBA playoffs. If you want some fucking good tips, there's blokes giving out some good leagues in the NBA playoffs in the Discord, Lou. Oh, God, no one's listening right now. All right. See you, bloke.